Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2 Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. After arriving at Huyang City, the Heart Shadow sect moved very quickly. First, they occupied the majority of cave mansions in the Primal Chaos Armor sector. Then they paid visits to the Master of the Flame Wind Guild and Lord Luo He to soothe the two major sources of threat. After that, they began the most crucial step of their plan, taking real control over the entire city. While they occupied the cave mansions of the five great families, they had already dispatched their subordinates to seize the three major forbidden areas within the city. Boom 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 tilde 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 5 super-large mechanical secret treasures had already flown to one of the forbidden areas, from which the Huyang Legion had already retreated, leaving only some Huyang guards still defending it. "What are you trying to do?" the Huyang guards asked nervously as they watched the 5 super-large mechanical secret treasures. "Surrender unconditionally, or die," a voice came down from above as the imposing presence of the 5 super-large mechanical secret treasures enveloped the entire forbidden area. The Huyang guards looked at each other. The generals and commanders had already retreated to the city owner's mansion. The defenders of the forbidden area were just ordinary Huyang guards. The city owner's mansion had no expectation that these ordinary guards could hold the forbidden area. They only hoped to confuse the enemy. "We are all just true gods of void space and ordinary true gods. Resisting would be a death sentence. There's no way we can resist." The gap was too great, so these ordinary Huyang guards obediently surrendered. Sigh. Soon, this group of Huyang guards was captured and taken inside a spatial secret treasure, and the 5 super-large mechanical secret treasures shrank down and swiftly drilled into the interior of the forbidden area. With their combined strength, they quickly broke through the layers of protections of the forbidden area. The base of the formation in the forbidden area had already been dismantled. "The city's grand formation can now only maintain the most superficial power," they said. "We haven't even attacked yet, and the 5 great families had already dismantled the core of the grand formation." The 5 super-large mechanical stream secret treasures went in to investigate and found that everything that could be dismantled by the city owner's mansion had been dismantled. With the 3 major forbidden areas prematurely dismantled, only the ordinary formations integrated throughout the city were still operational, leaving the Huyang city's grand formation with only a mere 10 to 20% of its power. "Set up the sect great formation as quickly as possible. Quickly." From inside the 5 super-large mechanical secret treasures, eternal true gods immediately flew out, rapidly setting up the formation according to the plan. The Heart Shadow sect had many sect great formations. As a former sect of godly king level, their formations were much more mysterious than the Huyang city's grand formation, and the most top-notch formations even required a primal chaos overlord to activate. However, at this moment, what they set up were 3 simpler ones, which could be deployed in a short amount of time. Movable formations generally have less power than fixed formations. These 3 sect great formations overlaid together were only slightly stronger than the fixed Huyang city's grand formation. However, once a great battle occurs, the impact of the formations, aiding in battle, is still significant. The 3 sets of sect great formations needed 7 locations to set up the formations. These forbidden areas had sufficient space and were thus utilized for this purpose. The Primal Chaos Armor sector of Huyang City resembled a huge ring surrounding the city owner's mansion. At this moment, all of the ring, except for a very small point Lord Luo his cave mansion, had become the encampment for the Heart Shadow sect. Sect leader, the 5 great families had prematurely dismantled the core of the 3 major forbidden area formations. "Our sect disciples are currently setting up the formations at full speed, and it won't be long before the setup is successful," an elder responsible for the formation placement immediately reported. "It must be fast." The master of the Heart Shadow sect stood atop the highest mountain in Primal Chaos Armor sector. Looking around, Elder Yun Yi, "Take immediate control of the city gates. From this moment, strictly prohibit entry and exit." "Yes." Several elders were nearby, each leading a group of disciples. With a command, 8 super-large mechanical secret treasures immediately flew towards the city gates. During their flight, they even repeatedly forced their way through the void. Clearly, As the power of the Huyang city's grand formation weakened, the spatial seals were also greatly reduced. The entire Huyang city could turn into a battlefield at any time. We need to leave quickly. Let's leave this dangerous place first. Many cultivators sensed the danger and were rushing towards the city gates. Unfortunately, even with only 10 to 20% power in Huyang city's grand formation, there were very few eternal true gods who could force their way through the void on their own. They had to fly slowly, and it would take some time to reach the city gates. Huff, huff, huff. Continuously, cultivators left. Suddenly, two superlarge mechanical secret treasures traveled through the void and arrived at the East City Gate. Seal the city gate. A terrifying power enveloped the entire East City Gate, and a swath of darkness descended, directly capturing the guards at the gate. Bad, they're sealing the city gates. Cultivators still on their way, who hadn't reached the gates yet, saw this scene from afar and felt a chill in their hearts. Meanwhile, the cultivators who had already reached the outside of the city breathed a sigh of relief. They're taking action so quickly. Outside the city, the clan leader of the Zhu clan, Zhu Hu, looked at the scene from afar. I brought out 50% of our clan at top speed. But the remaining clan members, that's a bit troublesome. The Zhu clan has been rooted in Huyang City for too long, with numerous family members infiltrating every industry in the city. Whether it's the Huyang Guards or the Huyang Legion, even members of many other forces, there are descendants of the Zhu clan. Even if they wanted to escape, Zhu Hu could only take the numerous family members who were already in the family's cave mansion directly into the mansion's secret treasure. As for those scattered throughout the city, he had no time to gather them anymore. Of the Zhu clan's eternal true gods, only two are in the city. Zhu Yu and Zhu Fuqing, both of who have wide connections and are members of a major forces branch. They should be able to protect themselves, thought Zhu Hu. With them here, they should be able to protect more of our clansmen. After all, 50% of the clan members, many of whom are elites, are indispensable to the Zhu clan. It's all up to Zhu Yu and Fuqing, these two kids, Zhu Hu sighed, the thin old man feeling unprecedented weakness. Against the Heart Shadow sect, they had no capacity to resist. Such a powerful sect, even Yu Kingdom's strongest eternal true gods could only try to save their lives. Zhu Hu immediately traveled through the void, quickly leaving, heading toward neighboring Primal Chaos Prefecture. 8 superlarge mechanical secret treasures hurried to the 4 city gates to prevent entry and exit. Once the sect's great formation was completely set up, the dark formation enveloped the entire Huyang city, sealing it entirely, leaving no dead angles, neither in the sky nor beneath the ground. The original 4 city gates were also enveloped and sealed by a dark light, no longer allowing passage. We've succeeded. We can go back now. Looking up at the vast sect great formation, the 8 superlarge mechanical secret treasures guarding the 4 city gates began to depart. The sect's great formation sealed everywhere. There was absolutely no way out. Want to break out by force? Possibly in the whole city, only Lord Luo he would have the strength to do so. The Heart Shadow sect was even hoping that Lord Luo he would leave on his own. This isn't Huyang City's formation. The Heart Shadow sect set up a formation, enveloping the whole city. All the eternal true gods within Huyang City sensed the change in the formation, and with their knowledge, they could immediately tell the difference between this dark great formation and the original Huyang City formation. Things are getting more interesting. Flame Wind Pavilion, Master Emperor Chu Yu watched the scene leisurely. During his travels across the land of origin, he had witnessed various conflicts. The conflict in Huyang City was merely a small ripple in his cultivation life. My Flame Wind Pavilion remains neutral among all parties, and it's also not easy to interfere in wars, said the Deputy Pavilion Master, a figure shrouded in grey mist. If every branch could interfere in wars at will, the Flame Wind Pavilion could not remain neutral, Emperor Chu Yu said. Master, with the Heart Shadow sect just arriving, you've deciphered the law of primal chaos. It seems the Heart Shadow sect is still your lucky star, the Deputy Pavilion Master laughed. Ha ha ha. Emperor Chu Yu's laughter was hearty and joyful. After enduring long years, guided even by secret tomes, it took me until today to reach the primal chaos realm, Emperor Chu Yu reflected. For a law lineage to reach the primal chaos realm, it's very difficult. His cultivation technique was a secret passed down by the imperial family of the Flame-Wind ancient country, much more powerful than the common godly king-level inheritances. From eternal true God to primal chaos overlord, the usual method of inheritance is continuous accumulation, eventually making a sudden breakthrough. But in the imperial family of the Flame-Wind ancient country, there are detailed guides that lower the difficulty of breakthroughs significantly when followed step by step. Unlike Luo Feng, who has been accumulating aimlessly, he possessed the will of a godly king, a perfect divine body bringing immense soul power, and studied both the great Tao of life origin and the mysteries of destruction's origin. He grasped more techniques in the primal chaos realm than Emperor Chu Yu, yet still couldn't break through. I have the guidance of the secret tome, combined with the complementary 9 techniques of the primal chaos realm and numerous resources assisting me. Only then did I break through today, Emperor Chu Yu said. I wonder when Luo he will be able to break through. Reaching the primal chaos realm in the law lineage is the minimum threshold for becoming a guest elder in Emperor Chu's lineage. He has also accumulated quite deeply, but breaking through to the primal chaos realm also requires some chance, said the deputy pavilion master. By the way, master, when are you going back? When are you going to report your breakthrough to the clan? No rush, Emperor Chu Yu said. I've already reported to the great ancestor, who asked me to keep it a secret for now. He will send resources over, and once my godly body is fully grown and my strength completely consolidated, then I'll go back. The deputy pavilion master showed a pleased expression. Whatever the great ancestor instructs you to do, just do it. In the imperial clan of the Flame-Wind ancient country, those who cultivated unlimited godly bodies were elite members, too. In Emperor Chu's lineage, after countless ages, there were almost 100 people with unlimited godly bodies, each of whom could directly contact the great ancestor. The deputy pavilion master, in contrast, had a relatively lower status within the clan. After all, even as eternal true gods in the bloodline cultivation system who were very powerful, the imperial clan had numerous such members, naturally not eligible to contact the great ancestor. The great ancestor of Emperor Chu's lineage was one of the emperors of the Flame-Wind ancient country, known as Emperor Chu. The unlimited godly body in the primal chaos realm is more majestic in size and slower in growth. Additionally, I also need to practice secret techniques to consolidate my strength, Emperor Chu Yu said. I hope that before I leave, Luo he can break through. Then I can take him back with me. Within 1 or 2 eras, you should be able to fully consolidate, master. How could Luo he break through so quickly? The deputy pavilion master said. Being stuck at a bottleneck for a few thousand or even tens of thousands of eras is quite normal. Once my strength is consolidated and if he hasn't broken through, I'll leave him a talisman, and will go back first. Emperor Chu Yu looked at the chaos within the city, then stepped into the small building. The master of the Heart Shadow sect stood atop the mountain, gazing at the vast expanse of Huyang City. Upon seeing the dark grand array enveloping the entire city, the master of the Heart Shadow sect's eyes were icy cold as he indifferently said, "Begin the pillaging plan, let's earn a fortune from Huyang City." Yes. The 3 elders behind him excitedly complied and immediately left to carry out the pillaging plan. The master of the Heart Shadow sect looked at the city and murmured, "Ever since we lost our sect's foundation, my Heart Shadow sect has been cut off from income. All this time, we've been depleting the sect's past savings. A powerful sect, with thousands of eternal true gods, a massive number of true gods of void space, and countless disciples of true gods, the expenditure of each era was enormous. They could withstand the drain for a short period, but as time went on and resources were depleted, the Heart Shadow sect would have to continue splintering. A city as big as Huyang, pillage it thoroughly once, and it's worth collecting residence fees over dozens of eras," the master of the Heart Shadow sect pondered. "Although there's a good chance of victory in this war, if the Marquis of Zhujiang calls for strong enough reinforcements, my Heart Shadow sect could still possibly be defeated. In terms of power under the Marquis of Zhujiang's command alone, it certainly wasn't a match for the Heart Shadow sect. But if a godly king from the Yu Kingdom sent elite forces to aid the Marquis of Zhujiang, that would be a significant problem. Preserve the elites of the Heart Shadow sect, then pillage thoroughly once more. Even if we are defeated, we'll still come out ahead," the master of the Heart Shadow sect thought. In times of weakness for the sect, He didn't care if mediocre disciples died. The death of mediocre disciples would, after all, save on expenses. I wonder how much we can pillage from the entire Huyang city. The master of the Heart Shadow sect's eyes filled with anticipation. The sight of 9 super-large mechanical secret treasures bearing hundreds of large flying boats arrived in a bustling commercial district of Huyang City where large forces had branches, weapons secret treasures, bloodline exquisites, and other major shops, as well as numerous places of pleasure. Exclude the 8 major force branches and the cave mansion of Lord Luo He. Do not spare any eternal true gods or true gods of void space, a voice commanded. Anyone who dares to resist, kill. Yes. The numerous disciples aboard the hundreds of large flying boats were thrilled. They knew well that while true gods seemed to be the most numerous in the city, the true gods were actually the poorest, unwilling to risk their few primal chaos crystals and would only try to earn more once they'd spent them all. To pillage the true gods of the entire city? Firstly, there were too many, making the pillage very troublesome. Secondly, the gains from such pillaging would be minimal. On average, each true god might only possess a few primal chaos crystals. Thirdly, the Heart Shadow sect might have future plans to rule over Huyang City. The countless true gods of Huyang would be their subjects. For these reasons, they refrained from laying hands on the true gods. But excluding the 8 major force branches and the cave mansion of Lord Luo He, the Heart Shadow sect would not let any other eternal true gods or true gods of void space escape. The majority of a city's wealth was in the hands of the eternal true gods and true gods of void space. Seal everything. A large number of disciples swiftly sealed off a major force branch cloud treasure tower, which spanned a large area, its many pavilions displaying a multitude of treasures. What are you doing? We are the Cloud Treasure Tower's Huyang City branch. Are you going to take action against us? In the Cloud Treasure Tower branch, there were 3 eternal true gods and numerous members who were true gods of void space, all shocked by the sight of the many disciples of the Heart Shadow sect surrounding the place. Cloud Treasure Tower branch. A blood-robed lady from the Heart Shadow sect walked in and sighed, "My Heart Shadow sect has been too poor for too long, so please, Cloud Treasure Tower, lend a hand. All treasures of the Cloud Treasure Tower branch, including all the treasures on your persons, hand them all over." Her voice was soft and sinister, but what she said made the owner of the Cloud Treasure Tower, the deputy owners, and all the other members feel a chill in their hearts. Not a single primal chaos stone can be spared, the blood-robed lady said indifferently. A thorough search by our Heart Shadow sect is necessary. Opposition will be met with death. Upon hearing this, the owner of the Cloud Treasure Tower, the 2 deputy owners, and numerous members who were true gods of void space felt a tremble of despair. They worked for Cloud Treasure Tower to accumulate resources. Now all their resources were to be pillaged. The Cloud Treasure Tower branch belongs to my Lord Marquis, the owner of the Cloud Treasure Tower said anxiously, his large single eye filled with urgency. Lord Marquis will surely come to know of this. Your Lord Marquis, once he knows, will surely understand the Heart Shadow sect's position, the blood-robed lady replied. Demanding all treasures to be handed over. Isn't keeping not a single primal chaos stone too excessive? A true god of void space couldn't help but speak up, as they'd accumulated over long years, and now it was all to be claimed. They were all entertaining thoughts of desperate resistance. Upon one glance from the blood-robed lady, that area's group of true gods of void space disintegrated silently into dust. Each met their death, leaving behind their weapons and treasures. A true god of void space dares to speak up. The blood-robed lady looked towards the 3 leaders of the Cloud Treasure Tower. Or do you wish to resist as well? I'll hand it over, one of the deputy owners immediately said eagerly. Can we avoid a body search? The search is mandatory, the blood-robed lady addressed the 3 of them. Those who resist will still die. The so-called body search was an intrusion by divine power to thoroughly inspect the body, including the true god's heart. Completely trusting one's life to another, not many eternal true gods would be willing to do so. Yet, faced with the threat of death, the 3 leaders of the Cloud Treasure Tower eventually bowed their heads. A mandatory search. An elderly man of simple appearance looked at the disciples of the Heart Shadow sect in front of him and then looked up at the super-large mechanical treasure in the sky. I willingly offer all my accumulated treasures, isn't that enough? The search is mandatory. An eternal true god of the Heart Shadow sect said to him. If it were based on voluntary compliance, they feared the vast majority of cultivators would hide their treasures, and it would be good enough if even half were surrendered. Sigh, I just wanted to live peacefully in my hometown, but you forced my hand, the plain elder sighed, instantly transforming into a black shadow that swept past. Wherever he passed, including an eternal true God, dozens of disciples died instantly. The super-large mechanical secret treasure in the sky immediately panicked. Kill him, Buzz. Dark formations in the high sky had already erupted, covering the black shadow with terrifying dark forces. Heart Shadow Sect, during my travels across the land of origin, nobody has ever searched me, the plain elder said wildly. With his voice echoing everywhere, the black shadow had already disappeared. He escaped. I didn't expect that aside from Lord Luo He, there would be another expert hidden within Huyang City. The super-large mechanical secret treasure, unable to locate its target, immediately contacted the master of the Heart Shadow Sect. Master, a formidable enemy spotted, we need causality tracking to lock onto the perpetrator. The Heart Shadow Sect sprang into action, beginning their pursuit of the plain elder. Having established such causality and locked by the sect's great formation, it was quite easy for Heart Shadow Sect to trace causality. Just a moment later, the elder led super-large mechanical secret treasure, a massive plant life, waving countless vines, and those vines, like a heavenly net, strangled the fleeting black shadow, who struggled and resisted with difficulty. So be it, to die in my hometown. To have killed thousands of Heart Shadow Sect disciples before dying isn't a loss, he said. In the end, the black shadow was completely obliterated, leaving behind only some treasures. H. Not everyone is qualified to challenge the Heart Shadow Sect. The massive plant life, brimming with murderous intent, wielding the power of a super-large mechanical secret treasure, was now as formidable as Elder Heart Eye, one of the 18 elders. Dark Forces 1000 Mountain Tower Headquarters. All our treasures have to be given to you. Faced with two super-large mechanical secret treasures, suspended in mid-air, and surrounded by many disciples of the Heart Shadow Sect, the 7 masters of the 1000 Mountain Tower and many true gods of void space were utterly furious. As a dark force, they were only used to looting. When had they ever been looted like this? Hand everything over, and we will search you as well, said a man in green clothes. Search us too, the 7 masters exclaimed angrily. Even if the 5 great families govern the entire city, they still show us some respect. In the future, Huyang City will be ruled by my Heart Shadow Sect. In place of the Heart Shadow Sect, no dark forces are needed, the man in green clothes said indifferently. Cities ruled by the Heart Shadow Sect. Apart from major force divisions, all other commercial and local family forces were established by disciples of the Heart Shadow Sect. Entities like the Black Butcher, the Dream Flower Tower Master, and the Zhu clan, which could be somewhat independent, cannot exist on Heart Shadow Sect's turf. The Heart Shadow Sect's control over a city far exceeds that of the city owner's mansion. The 7 masters of 1000 Mountain Tower looked at each other. We are willing to hand it over, but we won't allow you to search us, one master said. The man in green clothes smiled faintly, glancing to the left where a large group of 1000 Mountain Tower members were reduced to dust, including Suo Yun. Suo Yun, careful among the group of 1000 Mountain Tower members, felt the true god's heart disintegrating as the man in green clothes glanced over, realizing at that moment he was about to die. He didn't even have time to think further before he completely perished. A weakling, he had not said a word nor resisted, and just like that, he was caught up and killed. Initially, when he and Suo Zi left their tribe, they were rescued by Luo Feng, which allowed them successfully to reach Huyang City. Within Huyang City, he and Suo Zi took different paths. He did everything possible to seize all opportunities, even stepping over boundaries and risking his life. Meanwhile, Suo Zi learned the culinary arts in peace at the Fire Realm restaurant and, 5 eras earlier, followed his teacher, the Black Butcher, who was taken to the royal capital by Her Royal Highness Princess Yushire Tianyu. And today, Suo Yun died quietly. No one even cared. You! The 7 masters of 1000 Mountain Tower exclaimed in shock and anger. This is a warning. Say another word, and the 7 of you are dead, the man in green warned as he gazed at them. The 7 masters of 1000 Mountain Tower could only endure it. Fine. The 7 masters could only lower their heads, allowing the disciples of the Heart Shadow sect to search their bodies, taking all their treasures, leaving not a single primal chaos stone behind. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In the entirety of Huyang City, aside from the city owner's mansion, the 8 major forces branches, and Luofeng's cave mansion, all eternal true gods and true gods of void space in other locations were being pillaged, not one could escape. Facing such a pillage, those who resisted out of anger all ended up dead. The vast majority could only endure being pillaged, as the disparity in strength was too great. What is happening? Luofeng, sitting on the peak of his cave mansion, also noticed that disciples of the Heart Shadow sect were dispersed throughout the city, several large flying boats, and numerous super-large secret treasures were in action. Lord Luo He. Suddenly, the Dream Flower Tower Master contacted him. The Heart Shadow sect has blockaded the Dream Flower Tower, intending to completely pillage it and even search my body. A body search? Luofeng was surprised. Searching the body of an eternal true god, naturally, they would search for the true god's heart. First mention my name, delay them for a while, Luofeng messaged, and if it really can't be helped, don't resist. I'll head over right now. Okay. At this moment, the Dream Flower Tower Master could only hope for help from Lord Luo He. He practiced the 7 emotions of heart refining technique, needing the Dream Flower Tower Master's musical illusion techniques. Furthermore, since he and Shong Tianyang were friends, he also needed to help the Dream Flower Tower Master. Master. Mo Yu Qingyang rushed to the mountain peak in a flash, his eyes red with desperation. Master, my brother Mo Yu Liuxing is dead. Dead? Luofeng was surprised. Among the 3 brothers of the Mo Yu family, the one called Mo Yu Liuxing, whom he had also met at the Heavenly Flame sect, had a talent for artifact refining. Over the long years, the oldest and youngest brothers of the Mo Yu family had also occasionally come to visit with gifts, so Luofeng was quite familiar with the 3 brothers of the Mo Yu family. The Heart Shadow sect arbitrarily slaughters former disciples of the Heavenly Flame sect, forcing other true gods of void space to obediently search their bodies and hand over their treasures. My brother merely spoke out, and he was instantly killed. Mo Yu Qingyang was bewildered at this moment. The 3 brothers had grown up in Huyang City. Now, his brother was just gone like that. Although aware of the many dangers on the path of growth, when his brother was truly gone, Mo Yu Qingyang felt like something was missing from his world, feeling hollow and empty. Lord Luo He. Luofeng received another plea for help. Elder Chiu? Luofeng knew that Uncle Chiu was an old servant of Shong Tianyang, who handled many affairs of the Heavenly Flame sect. Lord Luo He, I beg you, save the disciples of the Heavenly Flame sect. Uncle Chiu has always been reluctant to bother Lord Luo He, but he was desperate this time. When the Heavenly Flame sect disbanded, many disciples went their separate ways, among them some established artificing shops, the largest of which are the 9 major shops. This time, the Heart Shadow sect is pillaging all true gods of void space, sparing none. And the slightest dissatisfaction leads to slaughter. Many disciples have been killed, Uncle Chiu urgently said. I know it's hard for the Divine Monarch, but I only ask that you save those 9 artificing shops. Whoosh. Morosa suddenly appeared beside them, looking at Mo Yu Qingyang. What did you say? Your brother is dead. Is it that little guy who came to deliver food last time? Killed by the Heart Shadow sect, Mo Yu Qingyang nodded, still unable to accept it. Master, what are we waiting for? Morosa looked towards Luofeng. Luofeng was not surprised. He had long known that the land of origin was a very cruel world, where tribes living in the wilderness might disappear without a trace one day. And when primal chaos overlords or ancient godly kings took action, it resulted in destruction of both heaven and earth. No matter what level of cultivator they were, some were merciful, some indifferent and solitary, and some slaughtered creatures solely for their own. This was the natural order of the world, where the weak were prey to the strong. Those cultivators who slaughter creatures just for themselves are despicable scum that deserve to die. Exterminating these scums is also part of the natural order, Luofeng thought. It's just that my abilities are limited. Even ancient godly kings couldn't affect the order of the land of origin. At that moment, Morosa and Mo Yu Qingyang were both waiting for Luofeng to make a decision. Qingyang, Luo Feng looked at Mo Yu Qingyang. Where are your other family members? My father is inside the city owner's mansion. The mansion is now sealed off, so he can't return, Mo Yu Qingyang explained. My eldest brother's family is currently at home, and my younger sister-in-law is pregnant, so she's resting at home. Given the current dire situation, I plan to leave the city, Luo Feng said. Is your family willing to leave the city with me? Of course we're willing, Mo Yu Qingyang nodded. I've already messaged my father, and he said that we'll listen to the master's decision. Luo Feng looked toward Morosa. Luo Sa, you now go to Dream Flower Tower and rescue the Dream Flower Tower master, Araya, and their companions. Morosa's eyes lit up, and he immediately sent a telepathic message. Master, if we take action in the city, the Heart Shadow sect and the city owner's mansion will notice. How much of my power should I reveal? Show strength comparable to Elder Heart Eye, but your methods can be more severe. However, control the extent of your power, Luo Feng telepathically communicated. The outside world had long suspected that he was an elite cultivated by a major force. Especially since he had rejected the recruitment by the monarch of Yu country, it led to further speculation about his powerful mentorship, and that Morosa was his protector. Let the world's speculations come true then. Understood. Morosa had been eager to act, and now that his master had permitted it, he could reveal some of his fangs. Start the action, Luo Feng gestured and took Mo Yu Qingyang with him. In an instant, Luo Feng and Morosa both vanished in a flash. Inside the city owner's mansion. Mo Yu, who was alone in a room. My third child, Mo Yu, who felt as though his heart was being sliced by knives when he received the news. After the death of his wife, his 3 children were what he cared about the most in this world, valuing them even more than his own life. His relationship with Luo Feng, including the treasures he had acquired, were all exchanged for opportunities for his children. But now, his third child was gone. I knew that this world was like this, Mo Yu, who also harbored deep hatred, but I can't avenge. That's the Heart Shadow sect. An entity that not even the entire Zhujiang Primal Chaos Prefecture can contend with, Mo Yu, who felt helpless and in pain, while the high and mighty Marquis of Zhujiang was currently trying to marshal forces. As a mere true god of void space, what could he do? My greatest fortune was being able to meet Lord Luo He back then, Mo Yu, who thought. I hope Lord Luo He has a successful journey, bringing Lai Feng, Qingyang, and all of them out of Huyang City. In the Mo Yu family's cave mansion. Heart Shadow sect. Mo Yu Lai Feng stood by the lakeside, tears in his eyes and a ferocious expression on his face. For killing my brother, I, Mo Yu Lai Feng, swear to seek vengeance at all cost. Even if it takes tens of thousands of years, I will never give up. Among the 3 brothers, the eldest, Mo Yu Lai Feng, was the one with the highest talent. He was also the most fierce and bloodthirsty. The youngest brother was the most reserved, simply wanting to quietly pursue cultivation, yet he was the first to go. In this world, wishing to cultivate quietly didn't mean one would be allowed the peace to do so. Suddenly, a figure in a black robe stepped out from the ripples in the void and appeared above the cave mansion. Upon seeing who it was, Mo Yu Lai Feng immediately paid his respects reverently. Divine Monarch. We are all ready. Luo Feng nodded and with a wave of his hand, gathered up all of the Mo Yu family's creatures and structures. Next up are the 9 artifact shops. Brother Shong, this is all I can do for you, Luo Feng thought. Whoosh. With a single step, Luo Feng vanished into the void. Although the Heart Shadow sect's dark array posed a stronger suppression on space, Luo Feng's current understanding of space was profound. Especially since he possessed the Void Proliferation Mother Tree leaf, it allowed him to be more in synergy with space. Moreover, the frequent observation of this leaf also led to further insights for Luo Feng. When the Heavenly Flame sect disbanded, its disciples went their separate ways. Some joined other forces, others set up their own artifact shops. Among them, the largest were the 9 artifact shops. Mo Yu Liuxing and his wife Mo Youshang established Mo Yu's artifact shop, which had quite a reputation and spanned tens of millions of kilometers. The Mo Yu family had a considerable foundation in Huyang City as well. Farther followed Deputy City Lord Mo Li Meng, The Mo family eldest was a direct disciple of the eternal true god of the Zhou clan, Zhou Yu, and the Mo family's second brother was a servant of Lord Luo He, one of the mere two servants by Luo his side. Therefore, many heavenly flame sect disciples followed Moyu Liuxing, Mo Youshang. Take all the treasures with you. In Moyu's artifact shop, whether it was the weapons and secret treasures on display for sale, or the storages of various secret treasures and materials, the disciples of the Heartshadow sect were now moving everything out. Moreover, many of the artifact refiners in the shop were being searched, and all of their treasures were taken, not even a single primal chaos stone was left. Huff! A figure flashed and had already arrived at the artificing shop. It was Luo Feng arriving through traveling the void. Who dares to barge into the forbidden area of the Heartshadow sect? The disciples of the Heartshadow sect who were guarding the surroundings were immediately alarmed, and the three superlarge mechanical treasures hovering in the sky all looked over. Luo Feng, however, ignored them and instead gazed at the many artifact refiners, apprentices, and customers in the artificing shop, who all stood still, not daring to move. Lord Luo He. Most of these artifact refiners and apprentices were from the Heavenly Flame sect and naturally recognized Luo Feng. How did Moyu Liuxing die? Luo Feng asked. Who are you? A shout of rage came from outside. Shut up quickly, that's Lord Luo He. The previously bustling disciples of the Heartshadow sect soon fell silent. But Luo Feng didn't pay attention to the outside and continued to look at the artifact refiners. One burly artifact refiner immediately said, Divine Monarch, today the disciples of the Heartshadow sect suddenly arrived and without a word, just pointed their fingers, and many artifact refiners, a large number of apprentices, and numerous customers died instantly, frightening everyone in the artificing shop into silence. Only then did the Heartshadow sect say that all treasures and materials of the artificing shop belonged to the Heartshadow sect, and all eternal true gods and true gods of void space had to hand over their treasures and even be searched. As the owner of the artifact shop, Moyu Liuxing only said, We're willing to hand over the treasures, can we avoid being searched? The burly artifact refiner said with grief and indignation. He had barely started speaking when the leading disciple of the Heartshadow sect pointed his finger again, and Moyu Liuxing, along with the surrounding artifact refiners, apprentices, and customers, were all annihilated. You really dare to speak out? At that moment, three figures walked in from outside. The one in the lead was clad in a purple robe, underneath which seemed to be a godly body formed of black liquid, with an expression cold as ice. He looked at Luo Feng and saluted. Disciple Chan Wuchi of the Heartshadow sect greets Lord Luo He. You pointed your finger twice and massacred a great number of creatures in the artificing shop, did you? Luo Feng stared at him. It was me. Chan Wuchi said, My Heartshadow sect is merciful. This time we were only collecting war contributions from eternal true gods and true gods of void space. To make the collection go more smoothly, it's natural to intimidate. It was him. He killed Moyu Liuxing. The eyes of the burly artifact refiner were frenzied. Indeed, it was me. Chan Wuchi nodded. I was dealing with things, and he dared to speak out of turn. He was asking for death. Chan Wuchi felt it was completely justified. To slaughter a few true gods of void space and true gods was merely a matter of a breath, no big deal. So this was the reason. Luo Feng understood. Luo Feng also extended his hand and lightly pointed. Hum. An invisible blade light descended, instantly eradicating Chan Wuchi's godly body. Even as Chan Wuchi died with his eyes wide open, he couldn't believe it. This Lord Luo He actually dares to kill an eternal true god of my Heartshadow sect in public. Does he wish to be completely at odds with my Heartshadow sect? This scene stunned the other disciples of the Heartshadow sect, who were frightened and immediately rushed out of the artificing shop. Before coming to Huyang City, they knew of Lord Luo His renown, which was not something ordinary disciples could withstand. Huff! Luo Feng waved his hand and took all the creatures in the artificing shop with him, including the customers. At the critical moment, Luo Feng didn't have time to ask for their opinions. If they wanted to return, he would personally take them back after the war was over. In this commercial district, with 3 super-large mechanical treasures floating in the sky and 19 large flying boats hovering above, many disciples of the Heart Shadow sect were looting various commercial powers. With Luo Feng's arrival, all disciples of the Heart Shadow sect became nervous on the spot. Lord Luo, he is here. Uncle Chan Wuchi has been killed. The disciples of the Heart Shadow sect were somewhat panicked. The 3 super-large mechanical treasures in the high sky also approached the Moyas artificing shop, and they too were shocked that Lord Luo he had taken action directly. After all, the Heart Shadow sect had always shown respect for Lord Luo he. Lord Luo he and his 2 servants were not to be offended by the Heart Shadow sect. But the friends and relatives of the servants. The friends that Lord Luo he had made. Luo Feng had lived in Huyang City for over 30 eras, met too many friends, most of whom were eternal true gods. Some he had good relations with, others he had merely chatted with a few times. The Heart Shadow sect couldn't possibly let them all go. As for the friends and relatives of the servants, the Heart Shadow sect would care even less. Lord Luo he, you dare to kill our disciples of the Heart Shadow sect at will. One of the super-large mechanical treasures, covered in dark cyan scales, almost humanoid with 8 arms, said. Whoosh! A dazzling and terrifying blade light instantly tore through the sky, breaking space itself with a pitch-black crack, and directly swept past the super-large mechanical treasure. This caused the super-large treasure to shatter, and the disciples within were mostly killed or injured instantly. Among them, the 11 eternal true gods in command of the super-large mechanical treasure all perished. This scene left many disciples of the Heart Shadow sect frozen and chilled to the bone. Quick, escape! The shattered super-large mechanical treasure's remaining disciples were so terrified that they immediately flew away. The fastest to flee, however, were the 2 other super-large mechanical treasures. Luo Feng stepped out of the artificing shop, looked up at the sky, and said coldly, I'm dealing with things, and you also dare to speak up. You are truly seeking death. The words of Luo Feng echoed mightily through the void, clearly heard by the escaping disciples of the Heart Shadow sect. As he watched the falling super-large treasures break apart in the high sky, Luo Feng waved his hand to collect them. He then stepped forward and teleported through the void to the next artificing shop. Within the city owner's mansion, the eternal true gods remained vigilant at all times, fearing an attack from the Heart Shadow sect. Make your move. Luo he has made his move. He killed an eternal true god of the Heart Shadow sect. Another strike, he killed a super-large mechanical treasure with 1 slash. Just like that. That's his true strength. Far more frightening than General Yong, the entire Huyang city, akin to a super-large mechanical fortress, was centered around the city owner's mansion, which could always understand the happenings within the city. Especially when Luo Feng took action, there was no hiding it. The city owner's mansion could see everything clearly. The divine power incarnations of the leaders of the 5 great families gathered together to watch the scene just recorded from the encounter. Lord Luo his slash tore such a long space riff. The might is too terrifying. No wonder he could kill Shueyun, Mo Li Xiao said in amazement, as his own strength was much lesser than that of Shueyun. This slash was even beyond Shueyun. Lord Luo he, in the outskirts of the city, probably could have killed Shueyun with just a few slashes, the Lord of Huyang City exclaimed in astonishment. Incredible, absolutely incredible, the leader of the Wu family also exclaimed excitedly. Lord Luo he has now turned against the Heart Shadow sect, which is great for us, it's a huge support. Luo he turning against the Heart Shadow sect doesn't necessarily mean he will help us, the leader of the Meiwu clan remarked. Remember, he had previously asked for an employment price of 1 billion cosmic sand. Regardless, just turning against the Heart Shadow sect is good for us, the white-haired elder mentioned. City Lord, quickly contact Luo he and see if he needs help, Mo Li Xiao reminded. The Lord of Huyang nodded and immediately contacted Luo Feng. Brother Luo he, you've turned against the Heart Shadow sect, and your situation is very dangerous. You can now escape to the city owner's mansion here. Once you enter the mansion, with your help, the Heart Shadow sect won't be able to breach it. The Lord of Huyang conveyed the message, you can also escape the city. There are elite troops sent by the Marquis outside who will come to your aid too. No need, the Heart Shadow sect can't do much to me, Luo Feng responded. The Lord of Huyang transmitted, I know Divine Monarch's strength is extraordinary, But the Heart Shadow sect is still the foundation of a godly king-level sect. Even in decline, it should not be underestimated. If I need help, I will speak up, Luo Feng transmitted. Alright, just give the word. The elite outside the city will immediately take action, and rescuing Brother Luo he won't be difficult, the Lord of Huyang transmitted. After ending the transmission with Luo Feng, the Lord of Huyang looked toward his 4 companions. What's the situation? The 4 companions were unaware of the communication. Luo, he said he doesn't need our help, the Lord of Huyang lamented. He even said that the Heart Shadow sect can't bother him. He doesn't even consider the Heart Shadow sect a threat. The leader of the Meiwu clan couldn't help but remark, no wonder he never cared about us 5 great families before. With his strength, unless someone from the primal chaos realm makes a move, who could threaten him? Mo Li Xiao shook his head. One-on-one they can't bother him, but the Heart Shadow sect has many methods. No eternal true god can withstand an assault from the Heart Shadow sect, the Lord of Huyang commented. Lord Luo, he probably also only has a chance to escape. Being able to escape under an assault from the Heart Shadow sect is quite impressive, Mo Li Xiao said. I've also shared this intelligence with the elite outside the city, the Lord of Huyang said. If Luo he truly falls into a dire situation, the elite will act immediately to rescue him. At that point, Luo he will owe a life-saving favor. The leaders of the 5 great families were watching the surveillance of the entire city, observing how the situation developed. 7 Fire Tower, one of the 9 artifact shops established by the disciples of the Heavenly Flame sect, was founded by 7 outstanding direct disciples under the sect. Among the 9 artifact shops, it was the strongest and had the most apprentices. Bang! 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 3 eternal true gods leisurely walked in, each either pointing with a finger or waving a hand, causing the artifact refiners, apprentices, and customers in 3 different areas of the 7 Fire Tower to be directly reduced to dust, leaving only the remnants of their items. Hand over all treasures, those who resist will die. The eyes of the 3 eternal true gods swept across the entirety of the 7 Fire Tower. Many cultivators inside were extremely shocked and angry because among those who had died were their relatives and friends. However, facing the might of the Heart Shadow sect, rashly charging forward was nothing but a death sentence. Seeing that no cultivators dared to resist, the 3 eternal true gods then turned their heads contently and walked towards another trading power nearby. Let's move to the next one. Junior Brother Chang, there's no need for random slaughter, those true gods of void space wouldn't dare to resist anyway, said a figure in grey robes patrolling outside. Senior Brother Chiu, instilling terror through slaughter makes pillaging faster. Furthermore, to comprehend the path of destruction, one must often engage in slaughter to experience the heart of destruction, said the smallest of the 3 eternal true gods. Our Heart Shadow sect's foundational teachings are based on the path of destruction. Both of us haven't even reached the primal chaos realm, and you're already thinking about the path of destruction, the grey-robed figure shook his head. With a heart of destruction, comprehending our sect's teachings yields better results. Senior Brother Chiu, if you are reluctant to slaughter, just watch from the side, they said dismissively as they walked away. The figure in grey robes watched the scene. Legends say that the sector beast born from the path of destruction knows only destruction and was eventually besieged and killed by forces from all over the land of origin. Only the sector beast of Qianmu Kingdom, which became a servant and dared not kill indiscriminately, survived. Chiu Yi sighed inwardly. The Heart Shadow sect acts recklessly and wildly. Last time, they mistakenly killed the progeny of the great Saint Juyuan, provoking the great saint's wrath and leading to the sect's total decline. To this day, the Heart Shadow sect hasn't learned its lesson, refusing to repent. Indeed, even the ancestor who established the Heart Shadow sect comprehended the path of destruction. The 5 emperor-level inheritances he left all embody the path of destruction. The grey-robed figure shook their head gently, but the ancestor himself is long dead. Rampant destruction will eventually lead to self-annihilation. My master has been immensely gracious to me. Without him, I wouldn't be who I am today. That's why I crossed the domains of 5 divine kingdoms to hurry back, just to help establish a foundational territory for our sect. The figure in grey robes looked around, but really, I don't like the environment of the Heart Shadow sect. Once the sect's foundational territory is established, I will have repaid my debt of gratitude and won't need to return. the figure in grey robes murmured quietly. Suddenly, the pupils of the figure in grey robes shrank as they saw a cold, black-robed figure appear. As this figure appeared, an invisible aura of blade energy naturally spread, engulfing the heavens and the earth. "Is that Luo he, one of you kingdom's top eternal true gods?" The figure in grey robes trembled inwardly. "Indeed, he is stronger than me." Qiu Yi was confident. But upon seeing Lord Luo he knew he was no match. After Luo Feng emerged from the void, his gaze swept across the surroundings, causing all disciples of the Heart Shadow sect to tremble. Lord Luo he. The artifact refiners and apprentices of the Seven Fire Tower were excited. Almost all of them recognized Luo Feng as disciples of the Heavenly Flame sect. Has the Heart Shadow sect been slaughtering? Luo Feng's gaze swept across, immediately noticing many scattered storage devices and weapon secret treasures on the ground. They indeed carried out a massacre. An artifact refiner immediately spoke up, as his divine power manifested the scene of the three eternal true gods committing the slaughter. As soon as the three of them arrived, they started slaughtering without a word. Luo Feng looked at the displayed massacre scene and nodded. "I understand." His realm of life and death had already enveloped a vast area, covering the three eternal true gods within its range. Luo Feng had a thought. Boom. The three eternal true gods were bound, still caught off guard, and were forcibly moved to the interior of the Seven Fire Tower. The three of them looked around in astonishment at the artifact refiners, apprentices, and guests of the Seven Fire Tower and saw Luo Feng in a black robe. "Lord Luo he, we of the Heart Shadow sect hold you in high regard," the three eternal true gods said ingratiatingly. Suddenly, inside Huyang City, all disciples of the Heart Shadow sect received a message. "All disciples heed my command. Lord Luo he has destroyed one of our super-large mechanical treasures of the Heart Shadow sect and has become our great enemy. If you see Lord Luo he, flee immediately." The order had been conveyed. The highest echelons of the Heart Shadow sect reacted quickly, knowing that ordinary disciples would be delivering themselves to death in front of Lord Luo he, so they only instructed them to flee. "Run, run, run. Hurry and escape." Numerous disciples from the surrounding Heart Shadow sect ran away frantically. But the three eternal true gods bound in midair were filled with despair. "It's over. Lord Luo he." They still wanted to say more, hoping that Lord Luo he would spare them. Luo Feng looked at them and couldn't be bothered to say more. The power of the realm of life and death flowed, transitioning between creation and destruction. The three eternal true gods seemed to be crushed by a Taiji grinding disc, ground into dust, and instantly killed. The artifact refiners, apprentices, and guests who witnessed this scene became excited. Well killed. They deserved to die. They had long been filled with hatred. "Let's go." Luo Feng waved his hand, gathered up the numerous cultivators of the Seven Fire Tower, took a step, and traversed the void toward the next artifact shop. After Luo Feng left, the distant disciples of the Heart Shadow sect finally breathed a sigh of relief, and the fleeing super-large mechanical treasure also stopped. "Is this the power of Lord Luo he?" These disciples trembled in their hearts. In the distance, a seemingly inconspicuous man in grey robes, Qiu Yi, watched the scene. "Junior brother Chang, I have long advised you not to slaughter indiscriminately. This world operates on causality. To every action, there is always an equal reaction." Primal Chaos Armor Sector, headquarters of the Heart Shadow sect. The sect leader of the Heart Shadow sect and the 18 elders gathered. They were either in their true bodies or incarnated as divine power. "Sect leader, that Luo he has now taken action against our Heart Shadow sect. In the Moryu artifact shop, he killed a total of 12 eternal true gods," an elder said urgently. "At this point, can we still endure it? Why did he suddenly make a move?" the sect leader of the Heart Shadow sect asked urgently. The Moryu artifact shop was established by Lord Luo his servant Moryu Qingyan's brother, Moryu Liuxing, an elder explained. "Our Heart Shadow sect disciple, Chan Wuchi, went there to collect treasures and killed a group of cultivators from the Moryu artifact shop, including Moryu Liuxing." The servant's brother, the sect leader of the Heart Shadow sect frowned. "To fall out with us over a servant's brother?" Many elders also felt that Lord Luo he was too reckless. After arriving at the Moryu artifact shop, Luo he first killed Chan Wuchi. The super-large mechanical treasure Blackfire Beast nearby merely spoke to inquire, and Luo he destroyed the Blackfire Beast with one strike, killing 11 eternal true gods and a large number of disciples inside. He even remarked, "How dare you speak when I am acting? Truly seeking death. Luo he is indeed too reckless," an elder spoke up. The other elders were also very angry. Lord Luo his actions showed he had no regard for them. The sect leader of the Heart Shadow sect was still hesitant. "I will contact Luo he," the sect leader of the Heart Shadow sect said. "Contact for what?" Elder Heart Eye spoke up. "At this point, do you still want to continue enduring, sect leader?" Luo he has made another move. As the sect leader of the Heart Shadow sect and the 18 elders watched the scene monitored by the sect's Grand Array, Luo Feng appeared in the 7 Fire Tower and killed 3 eternal true gods of the Heart Shadow sect. He's so openly killed 3 of our eternal true gods in the Heart Shadow sect. Do you still want to endure this, sect leader? Sect leader, you might be able to endure it, but I cannot anymore. Sect leader. The elders felt a burning rage in their hearts, unwilling to continue tolerating it. The sect leader of the Heart Shadow sect watched this scene and called back the disciples scattered outside. The internal structure of the Heart Shadow sect was already disjointed, held together merely for the purpose of establishing a foundational territory for the sect. If they were to endure Lord Luo his public and repeated killings, it would likely cause even more dissent among the disciples of the Heart Shadow sect. If we do not act now, the disciples of the Heart Shadow sect might lose all their motivation, he thought. Fearing just one Lord Luo he, how can we fight against the armies of the Marquis of Zhujiang? Most of the elders were unwilling to endure any longer. The sect leader of the Heart Shadow sect sighed internally. It was beyond his power to stop it now. Fine. The three-eyed sect leader of the Heart Shadow sect, filled with a killing intent, declared, "We have given Lord Luo he enough respect, but he has trampled on the dignity of our Heart Shadow sect. We can't be blamed for this. Before the great battle, let's use Luo he for practice. This time, we must kill him. Do not let him escape." Yes. All 18 elders responded in unison. Even though a few elders had doubts, with the sect leader's order, all the elders set aside further thoughts. At this moment, the entire Heart Shadow sect had only one option: to unite and eliminate this arrogant Lord Luo he. This video will end here.